We're back on the Exit 52 podcast. It is Sunday night, April 6th. My name is Jake Louque. We're brought to you by Jimmy's Famous Seafood, and I'm joined in pain and suffering by my guy, 2 out of 3 RDT, 2 out of 3 L's RDT. I had some sort of, cute little quip prepared for you again, as we have once again crossed the threshold of the Orioles not winning a series in their third try of the year. But this is another 2 out of 3 L's, and you have gotten ahead of the joke. So congratulations to you on that, my friend. How you doing?
We're good. We're good. Again, it's another weekend of blah baseball in Baltimore. Like it's too bad. One really good game. And it's like, okay, maybe this will get the bats going and get everything kind of going. And it didn't happen. It's just blah. It's blah, uninspiring, plain vanilla, bad baseball all around. So it's tough times here early on in Birdland.
You know what it looks a lot like? Looks a lot like the team we watched for the second half of last season.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't like last year. I don't know. I mean, obviously the offense kind of dipped, but like they weren't making these Jorge Mateo in center field just straight up like missing 2 balls. One, according to JCM, had a 99% catch rate. Like that. I mean, that's where it all went off the tracks today for Slim and Cade. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know what they need. I don't know. Again, this has been 70 some games of this kind of. I know they're under 500 the last 100 games, and somebody the other day was like, oh, they're 47-53 in their last 100, and they were like, that's why you should fire Hyde. And I was like, I don't know if that's the best. Like, oh, they're under 500 in their last 100 games. That's why you need to fire him. Like, I don't know. Everything is bad right now. Nothing is good. Yeah, Reservoir is a good baseball team. All right. Adam Leader has built a hell of a program, state champion. They're playing good baseball. I think they may still be undefeated. But yeah. 10 games in, it's not only 10. Yeah. Again, it's just, I don't know. Everything is strange. I don't know how you switch it up, how if you burn the sage or, what you got to do to kind of get this stench off them. But there is certainly a black cloud that we thought was gone once Senior Angelos left the building. But I don't know. It's bad.
Yeah, I think we'll start it off here with the first inning and looking at the first game. And I think I wrote down that it kind of seemed to be with game 1, that sort of seemed to be a microcosm of this team's offensive issues. You only get 6 total hits in that game. 1 run batted in from Heston Kjerstad. And it's just like the way that I wrote it out is just like when these bats go quiet, they don't just go quiet, they go silent. When they decided, and this is what reminds me of the second half of last year, when they've decided they're not going to hit in a game, they just don't fucking hit. Like, it's not like, oh, we'll go out there and we'll, scrape in 2 runs or we'll scrape in 3 runs. It's like that playoff game. And of course it's against the Royals in 2 out of these 3 where it looks like that again. And it's just like, man, it's all or it's nothing. And thus far, you're 4-6. It's a lot more nothing than it is all right now.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the 4-6 again. There, I mean, you see people losing their mind like it's like they're 40-60, which I would understand. And again, I mean, hate on me all you want for saying this, but like they could easily just come out and kind of reel off, I don't know, 9 of 10, and it's like, ooh, okay, we breathe. Everything's kind of back to normal now, and blah blah blah. We'll go from there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that guy said, it's a small sample size, but it's also kind of not because this continuation from last year. But you're right. I mean, with the offense, like you said, they're not, we talked about this in the second half, but like the comebacks, it's like if they go down 2 or 3-0, it seems like it's kind of like okay, it's just not in the cards for us today. Or like, when Heston drops the ball on Friday night. And again, there are people who, he lost in the sun, he lost in the lights, he lost in the rain, he lost in this.
I think Ben McDonald said the baseball was the same color as the sky. And yeah,
that's fine. But the Royals, they all caught theirs for the most part. I know they had some funky routes there too, but I don't know. The other guys are catching it. It's not the first time Heston Kjerstad's played in the rain or, had a ball that was weirdly hit at him or something. But yeah, I don't know. The offense and when they're going again, I said I think they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 offenses in baseball. And when they show up, they look like it, and you're like, oh yeah, here we go. we're scoring 8 or 10 runs, 9 runs without hitting a home run. Like, yeah, this team is kind of putting it all together. And then, but like you said, when they go quiet, it is a quiet place. Quiet. There's nothing to be heard of. There's just nothing. There's nothing there. So I don't know. They all look, and again, Gunnar just got back, but hanging the head when he strikes out and he's lumbering back to the dugout. I don't know. It's bad right now. I know people want this guy fired, that guy fired, this guy traded, this guy DFA'd. It's just, it's all bad right now.
Yeah, and I think some of what you're talking about there with the defense sort of dovetails into what we got written down for the second inning here, which is kind of part and parcel with what we saw today, but going all the way back to game one. Pitching is an issue, I think, from a talent perspective, but so is the defense. You look at that game, Dean gives up 8 hits, 2 earned runs though, and you look at that first inning with Heston dropping the ball. That's just a bad tone to set, and Dean never recovers. And I think like this tweet that I'm about to pull up here from JCM, as it's coming up. So state of the Orioles rotation 2 times through: Zach Eflin 3.75 ERA, Charlie Morton 9.72, Dean Kramer 6.52, Tomo Sugano 2.89, Cade Povich 6.10. Overall, it's a 5.62 ERA. Yeah, that's like not good. Obviously, that's pretty freaking bad. And I think when you look at these names, it's like FAFO, right? Fuck around and find out. But also, like, man, you look what happened with the defense in the series, and you look what happened today, which we'll get into. And then looking back at game one, you're not helping your pitching rotation that is probably not talented enough to win a World Series when fully healthy, and they're not fully healthy right now. That's just going to kill you every time. And I don't know. It's just a cascading sort of shit rolling downhill type thing where one thing leads to another, one bad thing leads to another bad thing. And I don't know, just chasing errors with errors. And overall, it's just like, it's kind of a comedy of errors right now. And as we're going to keep coming back to, that's what gets you to a 4-6 record through the first 10.
Yeah, and again, the schedule, I mean, you play who you play, but the schedule, they played 3 good. I would say they're all good teams. Boston's kind of just trucking along, and Kansas City obviously is very good. We saw that last year, and Toronto's playing. They're playing decent. But yeah, I mean, the defense is just not helping out at all. And this was such a, 2 or 3 years ago, this was such a defensively sound team, and they made every play, and they made great catches and throwing the ball to the right base and just stuff like that. Hyde straight up called out Tyler O'Neill the other day. It was like, this is the 3rd time he's thrown the ball to the wrong base this year. And it's like, it's April 6th. Like what the hell is going on? But yeah, I mean, Dean was not helped out by his defense, and it kind of snowballs from there. And those are the kind of mistakes that you would think, like, I mean, good teams kind of come back from that. They're going to pick their pitcher up with defense, and the Orioles are not doing that. I mean, the Heston play, the Mateo plays today. Again, if Heston makes that catch, I'm pretty sure they're out of the inning with no runs. If Mateo makes the catch in the first inning today, or second inning, first inning, whatever it was today, they're out of that inning with no runs. And it's like, all right, perfect. Let's keep on going. And it's just, it seems like, again, once they go down, it's kind of like, we 2 years ago, we were so used to seeing those, they're down by 1 in the 6th, or they're down by 2 in the 7th. No worries. Watch this. Once this middle reliever comes in, they're going to kill this guy. And that's not how it's going. It's not how it's gone the last, the last 3 quarters of a season.
Yeah. And it's also kind of like the pull one lever, the other 2 levers go out, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things, because you look at game 1, it finishes 8-2. You look at the bullpen performance overall, it was pretty solid, but then CNL gets in there. He allows 3 hits, 5 earned runs and a walk. And it kind of, I also wrote down here for the 3rd inning, consistent bullpen performance seems about as rare as consistent offense with this team right now. And that really killed them in game 1. Yeah.
And again, that I wasn't able to watch when I left. My daughter got a Lego stuck up her nose, so I had to leave for the hospital, and I was like, rats.
Yeah. Eventful weekend.
It was a very eventful weekend. It was very strange, but, so I when I left, the O's were winning, so I'm counting that as a win in my book. So you guys do what you want with it. I didn't see any of the rest of the game, but I just heard that CNL came in, and it kind of seemed like they wanted to at least stay away from Cano and Bautista. I don't know if it's because it was weather, or because they kind of wanted to make sure that there's a they wanted them to pitch with I don't know what they wanted. But it seemed like they were just going to kind of let Cano or Perez take that game, and he was going to eat the innings. He was just going to, that was going to be one of those that he had to wear.
Once it started to cascade, they decided like, yeah, he's just going to have to wear this one, because you had Soto and Sir Anthony go 1.2 and 1 respectively. 3 strikeouts between them and only 1 walk, no earned runs, no hits. Like those guys did a good job. But
good performances by both those guys this whole season. Those two specifically, very, very much. And so shout out to them.
I credit Soto a lot. I mean, people had some words for him, I think, understandably last year, but he has really shown up so far. And Sir Anthony's been solid as well.
Sir Anthony had like a 19 ERA in spring. Like he gave up 5 runs in an inning to a Tampa Bay team that none of the guys had last names on the back of their jerseys, and he was getting tagged by them. There were a lot of people worried. So again, obviously still very young in the season, but it's seeing those guys and guys like Brian Baker, come out and just shove has been a nice thing, because there have not been many nice things about this team so far. But yeah, again, I can't speak on much of the second half of game 1. But it seems like it got the train went off the track early, and they were not able to. They kind of just crumble when something like that happens. They drop a ball. It's like in Little League, and like you got a kid crying. You got Tony over there playing in the dirt, and and little Jimmy's at second base with his pants down, and it's like this team just they don't seem to have it right now. They're focused on the snack. We'll say that.
Right, and it just kind of like it goes back to the offense where you have 2 runs in that game, 1 run batted in from Heston Kjerstad late. Like it just kind of you just can't find the consistency. You can't find the groove. And it feels like there's the talent there that you should be seeing it way more often than you are. And they're just not getting it out of these guys right now. And we'll obviously have plenty more to say to that as we continue to work our way through this. And I think we'll probably just working our way through the run sheet pretty quick here. We'll probably just leave ourselves some time to vent and take questions at the end. But yeah, just, that game 1, like I said, it just feels like we're seeing way more of that than we are the positive version of this team, which we have seen, and which we did see in game 2 as we move on to the 4th inning here. I thought Tomo Sugano really is the bright spot probably of this entire series. He goes 5.1 innings, allows 5 hits. The majority actually of them came at the end of the appearance. So only one walk, 5 strikeouts, just a much needed performance from an offseason acquisition that I think really at this point, like O'Neill has been solid. A good signing, I would say, so far. And Sugano, 2 starts so far, and he had the 1 cut short due to the cramps. He looked okay in that. And then this one, I think, is exactly what you wanted to see. We were talking in the chat a little bit, like the delivery is kind of slow and deliberate, and like the ball placement's really good. So yeah, he was fun to watch, and like I thought it was really heartwarming, actually. Like just we got to sit back for a minute and reflect on like how kind of wild of a story this is. A 35-year-old Japanese pitcher who has never played in MLB comes over and gets his first win. And then you hear the story about him going into the locker room. I think JCM kind of put it out there that they did the whole put him in the cart and give him the beer shower thing. And he said something to the effect of, in Japan, you don't get the beer shower until you win the championship, but I'll happily take this one. And then he walked out of the clubhouse holding 2 blue moons in hand. So that was the one sort of like, one real bright spot of the series. I thought that was cool to see, and kudos to him for getting that first win and a great, second performance.
Yeah, again, he was. I think again, people were asking me like, "Oh, how worried are you about about Sugano after the Toronto series?" And it's like, listen, man, I throw any major league debut, any first time kind of appearance, just throw everything out with that. It's nerves. It's you're not yourself in that major league debut. And again, he was obviously not himself that day, and this is, I think, more of what we're going to see out of him. And also shout out Carol. Glad your daughter's okay. Yes, she's fine. Just a typical Lego up the nose, and wouldn't let me get him out.
Well, you had that happen to you a couple of weeks ago too, so it's kind of a like daughter situation.
Mine was a Tic Tac, and my mom just told me that we're just going to let that bad boy melt, and boy did it melt. But yeah, again, I mean, I think that's more of what we're going to see from Sugano. Again, just like everybody said, he's not going to blow you away. He's not going to strike out 15 or 13, but he's gonna dot it, and he's gonna place it. And I mean, he was awesome yesterday, and he was really dicing him up. And again, he's not gonna throw 98 or 99 at you, but he's gonna play that cat and mouse game where you don't know what's gonna come, and he's gonna drop a slider in there or something. But I thought everything about him looked really crisp. I just thought he was awesome, and I was very happy for him, because again, I mean, you could see, I think he was very disappointed in how he pitched on last Sunday in Toronto, and he had the hand cramps, and there were people worried. He gave up that long fly ball to Vlad last week, and it looked like it was going to be a homer, and the ball just kind of died. And he looked like he saw a ghost. Like he was like shell shocked at that. So I don't know what that was about, but he was able to wrangle it back in. And yeah, I mean, he was great yesterday, and that's really what they needed is a guy to go. What do you go 5 1/3? I think it was. Yeah, 5 1/3. Probably could have finished that inning out. I got no problem with Baker coming in and getting the double play. But yeah, I mean, how could you not be happy for that guy? That was awesome to see, and really, really happy for, again, the guy, 35-year-old this is all brand new to him. This is all super new. So good for him. Good for him. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we said with JCM earlier, currently leading the team in ERA right now. I mean, 2.89. That is very respectful, and that's going to make him a key piece here because Eflin at 3.75. Like, man, we can get into velocity, we can get to spin rates, we can get into all these advanced metrics, but it's about how many runs you allow at the end of the day, and that's much more. I wouldn't say much more, but it's certainly more of a team stat than it is just for a pitcher. But obviously, that's a great sign. So, shout out to Major Tomo, Uncle Tomo, the Ronin out there.
Tommy Sugar is what folks are calling him.
Tommy Sugar. We got to do the somebody more talented than me has to do the domino sugar sign with Tommy Sugar.
We'll figure that out. We'll get that going. Somebody, I forget who, shout out this guy if he's listening. He's probably not. Someone to DM me because I think Ben maybe last Sunday said Tommy Sugar, and they was like, oh yeah, or maybe Kevin, I don't know, was like, oh yeah, that's what it says his nickname is on Wikipedia. And someone DM'd me and he goes, I changed that like 2 days after they signed him. I just said that was his nickname, and I guess they ran with it. So he was like, I got to figure out how to change Baseball Reference, but he was like, Wikipedia is super easy, that I can do. Baseball Reference not so much. So that was pretty funny.
Love that for him. Yeah, I mean, staying with this game 2, 5th inning here. Game 2 obviously was sort of what's frustrating about these other performances that we're seeing. This was kind of the high point, and it kind of makes you feel like, man, why can't they just do even a fraction of this in some of their other games, and particularly in the other 2 games in the series where you have, for example, Little Jackie is your offensive MVP in that game, his first 3-hit game of his career, 2 RBIs and 4 plate appearances, and I think he's turning into the player that we were all very excited about, and that was awesome to see. It makes it obviously something we'll get into. It makes it a little bit baffling that he's not out there again today, but that's a conversation for a little later on in the show. What'd you make of this performance from our beautiful son?
Again, it's almost like people were way too quick to say that a 20-year-old kid making his MLB debut in a season where he had every camera and light on right in his face, saying that this kid was sucked and was a bust. It's almost like, wow, maybe they should have given him, I don't know, more than 70 games to decide. Because yeah, you look at him this year, and we said it last week, but he looks like a completely different player in the right way. His defense looks good. He's playing good at short. He's playing good at second. And I think Kevin Brown talked about it yesterday, but he had 3 hits on Saturday, and they were all to, one was the left field, one was to center, and then he had the triple to right field. So he's spreading it out. And if you look at him on Baseball Savant, all the hits to the opposite side of the field. You talk to any hitters, anytime they say they're going up the middle or they're going opposite field, that's when they're like, yes, I'm in a zone, I'm feeling it, I'm in total control of my swing and everything. So it's awesome. Again, it's awesome to see. He's looked really, really good. Not much else you can say. I mean, I loved seeing that out of him. Him not in there today, I don't know. I'm not a lineup complainer. I kind of was just like, okay. I obviously want him in the lineup every single day. I'm sure he wants to be in the lineup every single day, but for whatever reason, the computer and Sig and Mike and Brandon, again, the people who think that I had somebody tweet me and that was like, oh, Hyde drools on his lineup card as he's filling it out. It's like, this is not 1980. It's not a major league manager sitting down going, okay, I'm going to put this guy here today. That's not what happens. And there are people who think that that's how it goes. That's not how it goes anymore. Like, analytics are here. Every single team uses analytics and numbers and stats and computer and metrics and everything. So, again, I see some of the people talk about you got to ditch the analytics. I'll tell you what, that's not going to happen for any team in any sport in any league anywhere. That's just not going to happen. And again, I mean, we don't have to like it. That's how they've built this team. That's how they've built this league and this sport now. Again, it's not It's run by computers, and it's run by guys in suits sitting upstairs in a suite somewhere, not by a guy with a tobacco lip in and just spitting and chewing in the dugout. It's not how it goes. And we can bitch and complain about it as much as we want. That's sports now. It's not, that's everything. I'm sure it's your job. You guys use analytics and all that stuff. And that's just, this is the time and the place that we're in. So they saw something that said they didn't think he should be in there. He wasn't in there. I don't know more than them. No one on Twitter knows more than these guys. So I don't know. It sucked, but I'm sure he'll be in there. I know Hyde said today that they're facing 3 righties in Arizona, and my guess is that Mullins and Jackson and Heston are going to start probably a majority of those games and be in there the whole time. So this isn't like I don't know, like they don't think Jackson is a platoon player. They know Jackson Holliday is probably the most talented player on the team. Like, him and Gunnar are up there, but I don't know. That's for just the people being like, oh, we got to get rid of the analytics. It's not going to happen. The analytics are everywhere in the world today. So that's just how it goes. So.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, another note on Holliday. I mean, like you talk about the opposite field stuff. Masson put up a graphic that said, I wish I had like taken a screenshot or something of it, but it's like night and day compared to last year. Like he was just, kind of pushing everything last year. And this year it's much more like he's spreading the ball around, and that appears to be the difference for him, which is great to see. And I guess we can kind of get into a little bit more of the lineup stuff here with the 6th inning, which is where like you look at that game and you talk about the lineups. And I definitely felt a little bit weird going into that game with that lineup, which I'll pull it up right now. Actually, it's Gunnar leading off, Westberg, Mullins, Mountcastle, O'Neill, Laureano, Kerstad, Urias, Gary Sanchez, Jackson Holliday. That does not project to me as like, that projects to me as like a virgin lineups either type thing. That's something that at this point, I probably would be complaining about. But you look at the results in that game, Mountie, O'Neill, Kerstad, Urias, and Sanchez, they combined for 6 RBIs. That proved to be the difference to me. And it's a homerless game. In the end, the entire offense goes out there. They all do their part up and down the lineup, and it results in an 8-1 game. And it's kind of like, I am starting to get annoyed with some of this lineup stuff, as we'll get into a little bit later down the line. But that's the type of game where we're like, yeah, you can kind of understand the case for it. But like, you're not seeing that as often as you need to in these games. And it's like, it's more glaring when like you look at that game and you've got 1 hit from Westberg, 1 hit from Mullins, 0 hits from Gunnar leading off. And, like ideally, yeah, you want the meat of the meat of the order to carry you through like they did in that game. But like, I don't know, it seems like maybe there does need to be a bit of an adjustment. I know what you're saying, where it's like, the analytics are here to stay, and I totally get why, but it's just like, man, you go into a game like today and it felt like they could use a little bit of a spark. And I don't know, I don't necessarily need to go back to like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Moneyball, but like maybe a little bit more of a Chad presence as opposed to an analytical kind of dork presence is what's needed. Somebody to say, hey, you know what? Let's maybe throw this one out and let's just put Jackson in there and see what we get. I kind of get it.
I get it too. I mean, again, it makes sense. Again, these guys have been around baseball their whole life. And again, to the Mark Hoke show, again, I get it. Like going with your gut. There's no manager in baseball who is going to, be told what to do by his GM or the front office or whoever, and do the opposite or go, no, I'm going to do this. That you're not going to do that at your work. And it's not going to happen in baseball. Like that's not how the world works. That's just is not going to happen. You can want it to happen all you want, but if the computers are saying hit Cedric Mullins third, that's what they're going to do. Hyde's not going to say, oh, well, computers are going to show this, I'm going to do this. What are we doing? Like that's not a thing that's going to happen. If your boss is telling you, hey, do this, you're not going to be like, no, well, I think I'm going to do this. That's simply not going to happen. And if it does happen, someone will be looking for a new job. And, that's just, okay. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, the players, they're not going to fire Hyde. They're 4-6 right now. They're not firing Brandon Hyde because of this and because of the last season. Like, it's not going to happen. What were we talking about before I got totally thrown off? About how, like, just sometimes you got to go with it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were kind of talking about that. And, like, I don't know. It's weird, man, because I thought today's lineup was, maybe a little bit weird, and game 2 certainly, but like game 2, I would have thought is much weirder. And then they go out there and rake. They don't even put a ball out of the park, and they win 8-1 or whatever. It's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is.
No,
like,
I don't either. And again, people crapped on the lineup today, and I fully understood it. But again, I'm like, I trust these guys to go out, and they've played good baseball for 3 years. Like, I trust them enough to put good lineups out there and to trust what they're doing. And again, Hyde said it today, and because they asked him about the lineup, and he said, we specifically went out to get guys who are going to hit lefties. Like Gary Sanchez is going to DH. He's going to DH when they face a lefty. He's going to, or Adley will DH and he'll catch. Like, that's just going to happen.
I've got them right here, actually. If
if you could play it. I don't know.
Chris Bubic having reverse splits factor into the lineup decisions at all today? You went with a righty-heavy lineup. You had Corsett and Holliday on the bench.
Yeah, no, it's more of we required and signed right-handed guys to face left-handed starters, and we're going to give them an opportunity, especially early in the year here, to hopefully handle left-handed pitching for us.
And see, I have no problem with that. They're like, hey, listen, we went out to get Tyler O'Neill and Ramon Laureano and Gary Sanchez specifically because they hit left-handed pitchers. I'm okay with them facing lefties, especially like we said, the 10th game of the year. I get it that Mullins was 4 for 8. And again, I tweeted it, but I was perfectly fine with his explanation for sitting Mullins today, where he's like, listen, he's had lower body injuries, leg injuries before. We wanted to get him out there. We wanted to get him off his feet and not use him today because they're facing 3 righties in Arizona. I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with Jorge Mateo, who's played 12 games in center field, playing in a park where the wind is swirling. And again, we saw Jason Isbell. I think that was their center fielder who's a pretty good defensive center fielder.
Country music sensation Jason Isbell.
No, I don't know. What's the guy's name? Isn't it something Isbell?
It is Isbell. It's not Jason Isbell.
It's Kyle Isbell. Sure. Yeah. Same thing.
I remember that specifically because I remember last year I made some Jason Isbell jokes when Kyle Isbell, probably like fucked the Orioles over with some amazing play that only happens 1 out of 100 times, but seemingly happens every time we play this team.
Oh, of course. I don't even know who Jason is, but he's a country singer, you said?
Yes. Actually, appeared in Killers of the Flower Moon, a movie that I think we were talking about over the weekend. Martin Scorsese.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I've never heard of that movie. Again, I'm fine with that reasoning. But I thought who they put in his place was not the move. But again, they paid these guys money to hit against lefties. They're going to play against lefties early on. Again, if we get to the All-Star break and Laureano's still not hitting lefties, or he's not hitting lefties, or Gary Sanchez isn't, whatever, that's a different story. But like he said, game 10, they're going to play these guys like that. That's just what's going to happen. So it's the lineup. Yeah. Again, I mean, I was getting texts being like, this lineup, it's not it. And I was like, it doesn't look like it's it, but we've had this game before where we're like, oh, this lineup kind of stinks. And then they put up 11 runs and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. This is that will play. But today was not one of those days.
And it is weird when it affects you as we move into inning number 7 here. So game 3, obviously today we all watched. Cade Povich gets out there and he gets hit hard. And what I wrote down is any 13 hit start is going to be concerning. But you look at that first inning, Mateo drops a ball. That sets your tone. That leads to 3 runs by Kansas City in the first inning. They allowed 4 runs the entire game, and you lose 4-1. And the fact that Povich, that is, goes 6 and only allows 4 total, it's actually impressive, but it just goes to show, like, in keeping with the lineup stuff, you talked about Mateo dropping the ball, and, we've got JCM's tweet here where Hyde's talking about it, and he said, the wind is swirling. It's, quote, kind of a tough play. Hyde says Mateo does outfield drills every day, that he was more focused on infield this spring. Quote, in drills, he looks good. Just kind of a tough day today. This goes back to how lineups, one bad decision chases another, right? Where it's like, we can talk all about the hitting and everything, and it's not like Jorge Mateo was hitting today either, but that's just another piece of it where, like, I get that Cedric can't play every day, but then what we were talking about was Mateo versus Carlson. And maybe you're not going to play Carlson in center, but maybe you got somebody else a little bit more capable there. And I joked. Yeah, exactly. And I joked on the podcast, like, oh, they love Mateo's versatility. They'll just throw him back there at center field, once in a while, because why the fuck not? And it's, once again, we see why not. It just feels it all feels a little cute to me. And I feel bad for Cade Povich.
Yeah, again, I mean, he was a product of a bad defense. The bad defense behind him. Who know they may win that game if he makes that catch and they keep going to the next inning and everything is fine. Yeah, I again put Tyler O'Neill there. Ramon Laureano can still play in center field. I don't know. You could have put either one of those guys in center. You could have put Heston Kjerstad, who had 2 hits or a hit off a lefty yesterday in right field or whatever. And again, I know Kansas City is a weird place. It's a massive, massive ballpark. The outfield is so big. The walls are weird. The wind is weird. But again, I would figure, I don't know. That would be a reason that I wouldn't have put Mateo in center field. Like, oh yeah, we saw again their outfielders couldn't track a ball on last night. Heston couldn't do it Friday night. So why put Jorge out there who's had a cup of coffee in the outfield? So my guess is we're probably done seeing that, and we should be. Again, he's not hitting at all, and I think we said it last week. Like, you can be fast all you want, but if you're not getting on base, that does absolutely nothing. If you're hitting routine ground balls to the shortstop, that the speed doesn't help. So sure, he's a fine infielder. Okay, so is Gunnar, so is Jackson. Like, that's fine. There's speed other places. So I don't know. My leash with him is getting very short. Again, if you're not going to make plays, and you're not going to hit, what do you say? What is it that you do? What do the Bobs say? What would you say you do here?
You do here.
A goddamn people person. What don't you understand?
What the hell is wrong with you, people?
What the hell is wrong with you? What don't you understand? Yeah. So, I don't know. That was just
which who do you want to keep on this roster, Brandon? I sort of like them all.
Yeah.
Michael Bolton.
Yeah. Why should I change my name? He's the one who sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I mean, that was tough. And then Mateo had to play in left center field, and that play was tougher than, I don't know what Hyde's talking about. Where like, that's a tough play.
That one was actually, the first one had a 99% catch rate.
Yeah, like that's, and also I saw myself in a screenshot from, I guess there's some old major leaguer who his whole shtick, he's like 700 followers, but he's like, I played in the big leagues 10 years. His whole thing is like, well, you couldn't have made that play. What was it? His name? Oh, fuck, I forget it. J Mike MLB, the big league approach, 10-year MLB outfielder, veteran outfielder. So I tweeted the Heston one on Friday night, and he goes, "Who the F are you? You go do it." It's like, brother, that's not my job. I'm not getting paid $700,000 to do that. But again, it's very funny that there's this guy is he's just responding to anyone who's like shitting on people making a bad play. I kind of like the bit and be like, why don't you go do it?
Yeah, I love the "you never played the game" guys, and it's always the ones that have like their full resume in the bio.
Yeah.
Like, I did this and I did that, and it's like, cool, man. Like, yeah.
Never
amazing.
heard of you, and you've been on Twitter for 9 years, and you have 700 followers. Like, brother, if they want to give me a chance, I would love to go out there and try and catch that ball. Don't get me, sign me up right now. I'll go do it. I would love to try.
You still wouldn't, but you'd collect the check, and I don't even want to turn this into shitting on Heston. Like, this stuff happens, but
yeah,
it just sucks. Like,
I don't know. Again, the bad defense is somebody talked about it up there. One of the Ryan Harmon, the lack of focus. And again, that's, I don't know if that play or Mateo's plays were lack of, it's just those kind of plays don't happen to like winning teams and good teams.
And I cannot emphasize this enough. He is not a center fielder.
Yes.
Like, yes. That's what it comes back to.
Again, if I understand if you're like, we got to like a couple years ago when Mullins was hurt, I remember they put him in there and Mateo made a great catch at the wall in a Houston game. And I think he also dropped one, but yeah, again, if you want to put him in there in like the 9th inning or something, I don't know, but I get it. But like starting the game in a series where it's been funky winds and crazy plays in the outfield all series, that's where it's kind of like, that almost makes it seem where it's like they decided on this like 3 days ago, being like, hey, he's going to be in there regardless. And then like, doesn't matter if it's 90 and no wind or it's going to be 40 and raining with 40-mile-an-hour gusts. But that, again, I mean, that kills a pitcher, that kills everything. It's just like, that ball has to be caught. We should be in the dugout right now. And now you got Cade throwing 20 more pitches as Bobby Witt's like circling the bases, just,
almost hits for the cycle today. He was a home run short.
Yeah. And Yeah, I don't know. It's just it. And again, this place is a house of horrors. I truly meant it when I said I can't wait for them to get a new ballpark and for them to blow this place up. Like I remember, like they used to not be able to play in Detroit. The Tigers used to always kill them. Then it was Texas, and they couldn't play in Texas. And anytime they'd go down there, it was just like they would just curb stomp them. It was awful. And now it's like, oh, that's just Kansas City. Everything Kansas City. Again, that city absolutely teabags Baltimore in every single aspect and every single. They own us. It's so bad. What are the shirts like? Baltimore versus all y'all hoes. It's not Baltimore versus Kansas City because this is
it's versus them, but that one is a less than sign when it comes to sports.
I do want to correct this guy. I don't think he dropped the ball. He didn't even get a glove on it. So
no, they were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, did he get his glove to it at least? And it's like, no. Like,
no, I think it just went over his glove. I think he just undercut it or whatever. But somebody, because there was somebody on Twitter who was like, that's not a triple, that's an error. And I was like, I don't know. He didn't touch it at all. Like that's
like Bobby got credited, and like I think Kevin brought it up. He was like, "That's a little like okay, they're going to give him that." And then as you go back to the replays, it's like, yeah,
he just didn't touch it. He just flat out missed it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm mi hermano es no bueno.
Yeah, and that leads me to the eighth inning here, which is just sort of the thesis of this entire podcast. Probably looking at today's lineup. The offensive results you get around it, and me talking about the FAFO earlier. And I tweeted this after the game. Am I a little crazy for thinking there's an organizational hubris that is set in? Because what have we been talking about? What did we talk about with this offseason with some of the relative inactivity? They made some good moves. O'Neal's looking solid. Tomo's looking pretty good. But like we talked about with Toronto, like we talked about with Boston, significant upgrades that they made. And like we talked about with the extensions on the last podcast that are not getting done, you can explain your way around two of those things at once. But then when you have the lineup shit going on and you're just not getting offensive results, you can explain that too on its own. But when they're all kind of swirling together and you're 4-6, it really starts to ring hollow and the explanations start to just really grate on you. And you start to wonder if the right people are in charge of this thing.
Well, again, I mean, I'm still fully, all my support is behind the front office and Hyde and all that. I'm not judging or questioning anything. Again, they know more baseball than every single person on Twitter combined. The people on Twitter may not want to believe it, but I'll tell you this: we're sitting on couches, but yeah, it's a lot right now. And again, it's like, it would be easy to answer, like, it would be nice.
I want to emphasize, and I followed up in the tweet, I am not panicking about this season right now.
No, me neither.
10 games in. The Washington Nationals won the World Series, I think, below 500 at the halfway point. Saw the Phillies go a couple years ago, firing their manager mid-season, which I'm not even saying fire Hyde, but, like, it can happen. Like, a turnaround could very much happen, especially given how injured they are right now. But, man, all of those three things combining, and then the fact that you start out with a losing record through the first 10, and like we said all last season, just judge them by 10 games. I'm not gonna drop a judgment over 3 games, 4 games, 5 games. But when you get to this 10-game mark, I think it's fair to sit back and kind of, because that's kind of the football cadence, right? 1 out of every 16 or thereabouts. As of right now, it's not looking good to me.
No, and again, I've seen a lot of people being like, this has 2013, 2015 vibes to it. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I mean, it's I think it's still way too early to make judgments on anything. And
2016, didn't they get off to like 8-0, and then they get smoked out of the wild card round?
Yeah, I mean, 2016 was obviously that was the Britain in the bullpen. I don't remember how they started. I don't remember yesterday. I think
Trumbo was super hot. They started out, very hot, and it didn't end great. So it's not all about how you start. I don't want to make it seem like I'm hitting the panic button here, but it's also fair to sit back. And like I said, 10-game sample size, that's enough for me to say, like, hey guys, maybe a little self-evaluation is needed here in some regard. And like I said on the pod the other night, I trust David Rubenstein to start to do that eventually, but I just hope it doesn't even come to that point. I hope my fears and concerns are assuaged. But just as we're sitting here in this moment, it's just not looking good. It's not feeling good. Not good.
No, but again, I mean, now they have a chance to go to Arizona. We get some weird West Coast little 9:00 baseball start tomorrow. Which is kind of crazy. I'm not excited for that. They're gonna miss Corbin Burns. They got Gallen tomorrow, Merrill Kelly, and then Brandon Fat PFAADT. So again, I mean that's Gallen is good, but I don't think any of those guys are real killers or anything like that. So they've got a very good opportunity in front of them to go on the road and beat a good team and win their first series of the year. A week and a half in. But yeah, it's uninspiring. And again, I'm fully aware of the people being upset after 10 games. Like you said, it's the one game in an NFL season. I was going to say you don't freak out after one game in the NFL, but then I remember most of these people are also Ravens fans.
Because only Ravens fans do that, right?
Shout out Lamar Lover 42069 who is always blowing it up.
Like what's that Spenny video? The video Spenny's always talking about where it's like it's a one-game NFL season and they lose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. And then like your baseball team loses one game out of 100.
How the hell does the middle? Yeah, it's like when your middle reliever blows a game in the 7th inning. Like, how do you not get this guy out? That's literally what it is. But yeah, it's I don't know. Again, it's already very tiring. My DMs are full of people and I am not opening a single damn one of them. Like just going at it. And I'm like, tweet away, brother, because you're probably muted and I ain't seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. They just have to find some consistency because again, the offensive production it's up and down and it's up and down and it's 8 runs and then it's 1 run and then it's this and then the pitching is awesome, and then 2 in a row would be nice, Ashley. 3 in a row would be even better. They've got. I think they play Toronto after Arizona too.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I mean, you've got a chance to get some division games under your belt again. Who is it? It's Toronto, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Washington, Detroit, Yankees. So those are the next couple series. But yeah, I don't know. They need to get it together because what are they, 4-6? So they are. I'm looking at the division. Are they 3 games back? Yeah, 2.5 games back right now. A run differential of 0. They were +3 going into the game. Run differential of 0 right now. Again, the run differential is always kind of how you can gauge a team, and I think that's right with this team. They're kind of an average team right now. Some would say below average. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to fight you on that. But again, we've seen them turn it on before. I wouldn't put it past them. Again, Gunnar is still, working his way back. There's already people being like, oh, they're, Thursday, I had people like chewing me out being like, if your best player is available, you got to bring him up. And then now it's like, well, maybe Gunnar should have stayed down another day. And it's like, well, okay. I don't, we're not fighting both. We're not doing both sides of this. He's going to be fine. He'll figure it out. He's
I mean, that felt like a tune-up series for him. Like, like whatever, like you expect him to go out there and just rake right off the bat. I don't know what to tell you on that.
He had awful numbers against Waka coming into. I think he was like 2 for 11 or 1 for 11, something like that. So again, it's because somebody was like, hey, are you worried about his Ks against Waka? And I was like, nope. Sometimes you just don't hit a guy, and I mean the Friday night game, he every ball he hit was like 104, 105. Like that he'll be fine. Again, I mean, I don't know what it is with the offense, though. It's just very up and down. And like Mountcastle, Mountie had 3 hits today, I think I saw. So they had 5 hits and he had 3 of them or something. But I don't know. Again, like we talked about, if it seems like if they get down early and they're not hitting early, they're not hitting at all. So that needs to obviously get figured out. Yeah, Mountie was 3 for 4 today. So, I mean, again, you look at the averages, they're good. You got Rutschman 257, Westberg 297, O'Neill 333, Mountie 324, Ramon 370, Kerstad 278, who is obviously a pinch hitter. But yeah, I don't know. It's everything is kind of snowballing right now. We're not used to this. We're not used to kind of the Orioles have always gotten off to good starts. That's what we talked about a couple weeks ago. But this is kind of brand new territory for. I don't know this.
And listen, hey, they got off to a really good start last season, and like we've been talking about, they finished around 500 after the break. So again, time to turn it around. But
you know what they have to do. I think you know what they have to do. They have to get to Arizona and go to their nearest Spencer's Gifts, Octobong, Dongbong.
I was gonna say, where's all that stuff, right? You know, they're doing the fishing thing now. There doesn't seem to be any dong bongs going on.
Again,
Not a lot of dongs to bong, unfortunately, quite yet. But
and again, it's fine when they're winning, but when they're not winning and nothing's happening, I don't know. You know what? It's funny. So they
bring back the handlebars. You get things revved up. That worked great.
That was so bad. They do have the original dong bong in Camden in Camden Yards, like in one of the displays, where like right in front of Home Plate Plaza. So I don't know. I think I read that there was a break in case of emergency sign there. So we may try and figure something out and get that bad boy removed and bring some of the good vibes back, bring something back. But I don't know. They need something, and it has to get clicking soon, because obviously, I mean, you just can't have these kind of weeks and starts in a division like this where the Yankees are just hitting everything. I think they got walked off today by Pittsburgh, which is always nice. But you don't want to be playing comeback in August and September playing against Boston, who Boston seems like they're just playing with house money right now. They had probably a worse offseason than the Orioles did until like 2 weeks left, when they were like, oh yeah, we're just going to go sign.
Yeah, we'll just get Garrett Crochet and extend him, and then we'll get Alex Bregman.
Yeah. Like that's, it's big time Squidward up in the house looking down.
There you go. Your SpongeBob.
You know me, big SB guy, the biggest.
All right. Any more thoughts?
I just want to see this team win. I just want them to, they don't seem frustrated. That's the thing. Like, you're not seeing them slam helmets. They're not throwing bats. They're not doing any of that. I mean, they're not children, of course. So I don't know who would ever do anything like that. But, I'm sure they're as frustrated as we are. And again, I think if you ask any of them, they're like, yeah, it's just a slow start and we'll break out of it. And I'm sure that's what they truly believe. And I think I'm kind of with that too. And, all it takes is one good month or a couple good weeks to string them together, and they kind of get the groove back. And, I don't know, it's been a weird schedule. They're home, they're away, they're flying here, they're doing this. So I don't know. They need like a nice long homestand, some home cooking, sleeping in their own bed, and just start to bash these teams' heads in, because that's what we need. And real quick too, I also saw, I think, with the wrestling guy, the Mark Hoke show, and this comment about we need Mayo and Basayo, that's not going to happen. We saw what happened last year and I like Kobe Mayo. I think he's going to be a very good player, but we saw what he did last year, and we saw what he did in spring.
They've got a good first baseman who had 3 hits today. That's all.
Like that's there. And again, you want to look at third base, where else he would play.
He's not playing. He's not going to play third base.
No, but he has played there. But again, it's like they're not going to DH. That's not going to happen. And same thing, Basayo.
That's Gary Sanchez's role. If you
think Basayo is ready right now, you are sorely mistaken. Basayo is going to be a great player. He's going to be very, very good. He is not MLB ready right now. Plus, he's hurt. He's on the IL. He tweaked his hamstring the other night. Like that was never going to happen. Again, Enrique Bradfield, that's a little more realistic. They still want to see him hit. He has not spent. I don't even think. Is he at AAA? I don't even know if he's in AAA right now. I do. His glove and his speed. There were scouts who were trying to trade for him in the offseason. They said he would have won a Gold Glove if he played in the bigs last year. So the glove and all that, that's not up for debate. They got to see him hit, and he hasn't. He hasn't been the greatest hitter. So they're not going to rush these guys up. All we did last year was complain, like, you got to bring Jackson up. You got to bring Jackson up. You got to bring Jackson up. Then they brought him up and he was awful. And everyone's like, you got to send him down. How do you keep putting him out there? This would have been Kobe Mayo would have been Jackson 2.0. And Samuel Basayo is not even close to ready right now. Sometime during the summer, I would assume. Now that probably takes a back seat with the injury, but that's not the answer to this. Like, oh, we're not hitting. Let's bring up a guy who spent 4 months in AAA, and that's not how a team who is trying to win a World Series competes. Like it's awful planning.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. And then but it's just like, what else do you got if you're a fan to cling on to, right?
No,
if you're not going to make big moves in the offseason, and you built your whole reputation on, we draft and develop our own guys, and we promote we don't extend them, but we promote them from within. what else do you have to cling to?
No, I get it. I get it. And, you're reaching for something, you want something to hold on to. But I think, again, if people, I mean, they would abuse Basayo up here. and same thing again. I mean, we've seen what Kobe Mayo, we see what he does in AAA, but then we see what happens when he gets down, in the big leagues, up in the big leagues. And then this one, Cowser, you said 4 to 6. I read 6 to 8. I think that's what Rocket originally said, or,
yeah, I might have had an inside source tell me it'd be closer to 2 months. Person may not be related to him.
That's what I think, that it's probably somewhere right around there. And, again, you just hope that it heals up a little. I'm almost happier that he fractured the thumb and didn't tear tendons. The tendons seem to really, screw you up and take a long time. But the thumb,
it's a soft tissue.
Thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and Mountcastle and Mullins aren't consistent. They're
playing well right now. Like
they've been 2 of arguably the top 3 players on the team right now. I mean, they both play Gold Glove caliber defense, and again, through 10 games, Mullins is probably the MVP, if not for little Jackie. You're not sitting Cedric Mullins for Enrique Bradfield. You're just not.
I think it's fair to say, based on what we saw last season, that maybe they won't be fully consistent throughout the year. But let me tell you, I don't think Kobe Mayo is going to be more consistent than them. I don't think Basayo, who is not ready, or Bradfield, who is not ready, are not going to be either. So,
no,
thank you. We appreciate the engagement.
Yeah, it's fun to have a conversation that's a back and forth and not just like a name calling, pointing fingers.
Right. And we all just want the same thing, right? We all just want this team to win. So it's like, take your frustrations out however you want. Maybe let's go a little easy on these beat reporters. I get that it's frustrating to not get answers out of Hyde after a game like that, but it's just like, he's not going to give you much to begin with. But those jobs are still important. Like, you need to go in there, you need to ask those questions. And I don't know, man. Everyone's where I get the Twitter. It's easy to forget, but we're all just human beings here, and it can be frustrating, but it's just baseball.
And listen, one day the sun is going to blow up, and none of this is ever going to matter, and all we are is dust in the wind, and yada yada yada. No, but
it's my eyes only for a moment, then the moment's gone.
We can stick around. I can't stick around answering some questions. Do you think they'll trade Mayo? I think if they're including him in if they're going after a Sandy Alcantara or another, I think Dylan.
Miami.
Yeah. And again, I'm perfectly okay with Kobe Mayo. I think he's going to hit you.
Listen, I don't want to. Yeah, I've threw a couple comments out there. He's going to be a good major league bat. He is going to be. I believe in that 100%. It's just right now, I just don't see him as like a major league answer right now for the Orioles, at least.
Yeah. Eric says, do you think the lefty-righty matchup is obsession is more high to those above him? Again, we talked about it earlier. You may not have been here. I think that, and again, it's not like we talked about it. It's not like a Brandon Hyde sitting down with a notebook 3 hours before the game, writing out the lineup like your high school coach did. Maybe
he should try that for one game. He should do the thing where people are like, "Oh, I'm disconnecting. I'm turning off all my social media, my phone. I'm just gonna live an analog lifestyle for a week." He should try that.
Look at emails or any Zoom calls or anything like that.
I need like a me day. I need a day where I can have some self-care, sit back in my chair, put a fat dip into my lower lip, and just sit around my office and fart and talk about the good old days and write down my lineups on a sheet of on a legal pad and have that be that.
Yeah, no. I think it's a combination of the front office. It's SIG, it's the analytics, it's matchup history, it's Elias, it's Hyde. It's health, it's how a guy's feeling and all that. So again, there's a lot more things that go into creating a lineup other than
that's another thing that I also I can understand, and I get that it's frustrating, but the health thing too. He did talk about Cedric's health, and man, I do get that part of it. You don't want to overwork these guys, but what I will say is you also I get not wanting to overwork guys and not wanting to lead to kind of a burnout like they had last season in the second half. But you're shorthanded right now, injury wise, pretty much up and down the line, up and down the entire the entire MLB club. So you don't want to shorthand yourself too much. You don't want to tie both hands behind your back. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's again, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, but yeah, it's a complicated process to figure out your 1 through 9, but Maybe it shouldn't be like you're saying. I don't know. You could figure something out, but yeah, good old Orioles baseball. 10 games in. I feel it's like that. It's like that. The picture of like the president's like an inauguration day, and then it's like the end of year 3, and they're just like weathered and looking like shit. I feel like a catcher's mitt right now. So
yeah, I'm gonna do one of those. I'm gonna take that I think it's your Facebook profile, like the school photo of you, and then I'm gonna take a picture of you now, and I'm gonna do like the age up thing on the Snapchat filter, and that's gonna be start of the season versus right now.
Yeah,
2 out of 3 L's, 2 out of 3 W's RDT versus 2 out of 3 L's RDT.
That'll work. I could do that. Yeah. There we go. I don't know what else we got.
Not much. Thank you, everyone, for hanging with us here in a frustrating series recap as the Orioles are still winless from a series perspective to start the 2025 season. Didn't think we'd be saying that, but also they've played some good teams here. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the schedule will soften up for them a little bit as they go out to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks and some West Coast baseball that I will surely not be able to stay awake for at least tomorrow night. But yeah, very excited to see if they can turn it around. It kind of feels like the Ravens getting off to that 0-2 start this year when I was very much out on the ledge. And you know what? They went out and figured it out. And hopefully the Orioles can find a way to do that. If Ryan McKenna and prime Ken Griffey Jr. are on a Brandon Hyde led team, who would he start versus a left-handed pitcher? I think we know the answer to that. It's like, it's just about the matchups, right? You got to look at the computer. Thank you all once again for tuning in. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Comment on all the videos, like them, get the algorithm pumping for us. Spread us by word of mouth around to all your friends. You can find us on social media at X52 Podcast on X and on Instagram. My name is Jake Louque, and you can find me on X at Jake Louque. I forgot what it was there for a second. You can find Eric at EDITTI22, Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10, Brian at Barstool Banks, Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4 in the middle there. We appreciate you all. We'll talk to you again later this week, hopefully in a little bit more of a jovial mood, but I guess we'll find out. And between then, be well.
Goodbye.